All right. Hey, I'm Evan Booth. My talk is Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife, Residential Security and Monitoring the Bottom Line. Okay, what we will cover traits of a typical break-in. We're going to look at an overview of a typical alarm system setup. This is not a technical talk by any stretch of the imagination, but it should be pretty fun. We're going to talk about the benefits of a residential alarm system, as well as the things that suck supremely about it. It wouldn't be a beneficial time if we didn't talk also about the things that make it suck less. Okay, what we won't cover, we're not going to cover the most effective way to secure your residence from a break-in, but in case you were wondering, if I had to put money into something, it'd probably be hardening the common entry points. That's what she said. I'd also buy a dog. Who am I? I am Evan Booth. Like I said, I started a company about 5 years ago called Recursive Squirrel Interactive, for which I do development and design work. I'm not an InfoSec guy per se. Well, you know, I deal with security as much as any like good programmer should. So I guess I kind of have to be by association. So here I am. I would classify myself as a problem solver. I do enjoy thinking about things objectively, as I'm sure many of you do as well. I do break stuff. Sometimes it's intentional. Woo! Okay. I do have a handle. It's tree fort or just fort. If you say fort, though, you have to yell it. So someone try it out. Hey. Okay. I helped found an organization called FAIL. We're a lock sport group based out of Winston-Salem, North Kakalaki. Yeah. Yeah, all right, so we get together about twice a month and we drink and we look at locks. Sometimes we pick them. We attempt to remove obscurity from physical security by hosting lockpick villages at conferences like these, mostly on the West Coast. If you want to know more, if you want to come pick locks with us, you can get some info at lockpill.com. Any Redditors out there? Anyone browse Reddit? Yes, the narwhal bacons at midnight. If you see this on Reddit, I figured more people would be Redditors. Are you lying or no? Okay. But if you see that on Reddit, it services every year about this time because it's Halloween. That's actually me, so now you know. Okay, why do I care about issues in residential security? I think the biggest reason is because I like to consider myself somewhat of a savvy consumer, and it kind of goes along with the thinking objectively thing. About a year ago, I guess, I started thinking about like, well, what options exist right now for getting your house secured with just an alarm system, and just looking at the costs and the options available, I thought they kind of sucked. So I started thinking about that and thinking about like, well, what are the underlying issues that are present here, and that kind of formed this talk. Residential security, it's you know, germane to my own skill and interests because I do enjoy physical security and lockpicking as well as the programming side of things as well. It's definitely a widespread issue. Honestly, I think someone kind of has to come along and maybe set a baseline or a higher standard for residential security just in order to kind of push things forward. So let's make some assumptions. Of course, this is the opinion of one guy, blah, blah. Not in any position to profit. All that stuff. I'm certainly not an expert at any of this. I just enjoy thinking critically about it. So feel free to disagree with me at any point and blurt things out. I don't think this is a big enough group that we can't do that. Someone blurt something out real quick. You can't raise your hand and blurt stuff out. What? Okay. I'll write that down. Google it later. I will focus on residential security in this talk. Many, if not most of these concepts translate right over to commercial as well. Just keep that in mind. No one cares about my assumptions. We're going to fly through a typical setup. Okay, you've got the control board, which is kind of the brain. The user front end, which is your keypad. You have a myriad of sensors, which could be magnetic or contact plunger for your doors and windows, making sure they don't open. Motion detectors, glass break sensors, pressure mats. If I couldn't find like a fun image, I just put whatever in there. So enjoy that. So, okay, an alarm system, if an event happens, it has to dial home. So it does it one of many ways, or a combination using a landline or a cellular radio. Some use the internet these days. You know, I've found some like hybrids that are interesting. Like one actually uses sort of like a ham radio frequency, and it uses all of the control panels, or the boards, in sort of a mesh network. So it kind of like spreads over the countryside and sends stuff home. I'm sure you couldn't get in the middle of that, you know. Siren or strobe. All right, let's talk about like a typical burglary. What does it look like? Well, it's twice as likely to occur between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So while you're slaving away at work, someone's making off with your goodies. Isn't that nice? It's very likely to come through the front door. And second place is the back door. I guess we're creatures of habit, or like thieves just aren't that intelligent. I do really wonder about that statistic. Or does it speak to like how opportunistic like theft is, right? Like you're walking by and you see a door and you're like, that one, and you run at it? I don't know. It's a mystery. Of all burglaries, 61% include forcible entry, 32.6 were unlawful entries without force, and 6.5 were forcible entry attempts, which I suppose someone tried and failed. The average dollar loss per residential burglary is $2,163. And all these came from the FBI Unified Crime Reporting Statistics. I think the most recent set was like 2009. But this one did not. This one came from a study done in Connecticut, where they found that 41% of alarmed homes that were burglarized had the alarm turned off. We're going to come back to that. That's a big deal. Burglars tend to spend less than 1 minute, 1 minute or less to gain entry into your house. And that kind of speaks back to hardening your common entry points, because the longer someone is at your front door trying to kick it in, you know, every passing second exponentially decreases the likelihood they're going to stick around and actually succeed, especially if there's a dog barking. Fun fact, in many U.S. jurisdictions, burglary at night carries a more severe punishment than burglary committed during the day. I guess makes sense. Okay, so what are the benefits of an alarm system? Because there certainly are benefits. On a security, from a security standpoint, let's look at this. You're less likely to get snoop robbie robbed in the first place. So some estimates put that at 2.8 to 3.5 times more likely to be burglarized if you don't have an alarm system. And I think that was a study by the New York Times. So, you know, alarm goes off in your house, you're quickly notified, you're able to, you know, secure yourself, you know, your own personal safety. And to me, this means maybe locking the door, or loading your shotgun, or releasing the hounds. Police, fire, and or EMT is dispatched quickly, which is good. Also gets the neighbor's attention. I guess that could be good. Financial benefits. So you get less of your stuff taken, right? Because they're in the house less. That's always good. ADT claims you can pay up to 20% less for your homeowner's insurance if you have an alarmed house. Does anyone confirm that? Do you know a percentage off the top of your head? Thank you. 15? See, they said 20, and I was like, okay, well, there's no way that could happen. So that's like the ceiling, right? Well, that's 20. 15's not bad. I like it. Okay, other benefits. Peace of mind. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Sure. Secondary functionality, like you could make your doors chime when they open. So if you've got young kids or something, it's good to know when they wandered off. Or if everyone's in a room and you hear something chime, then someone's coming in your house, and it could be the start of the zombie apocalypse. Okay, all these benefits. Why am I not happy? All right, so what's the problem? So fundamentally, I think that the motivation to improve security is often eclipsed by the motivation to make money. Whoa! How novel is that? Wasn't that clever? Yeah, do not buy things. Little boxes, they do nothing. Pay for services. No, okay, so yeah, and don't tell these guys that money is the only way that things get done. So I have to lead into this next slide with Picardy and facepalm. Wow, you can barely see that. Dang it, man. Okay, that's Picard. Monitoring is a bad product, no matter how you look at it. From a security standpoint, what does it actually do to increase your security? From a value standpoint, the amount of value per dollar you spend for it, it is a terrible product. That's mind-blowing. All right, what's the basic problem that monitoring solves? There's two things. in my mind. Okay, so like actual problems that it solves like for the user. But thank you for reading ahead. Anybody? All right, it notifies you, right? And it notifies the police or the authorities, dispatches them. Cool, okay, so I've broken that out here. An alarm goes off, an operator calls you. If you answer, you tell them a PIN number. If it's correct, the operator turns off the alarm. Otherwise, the operator dispatches the authorities. If you don't answer, the operator dispatches the authorities. So if we were to maybe simplify that some and cut it down. Oh, there's crap. I just added some syntax. Oh, is it friggin'? Is that indentation? I don't. Oh, no. Someone just got functioned. What happened here? All right, so, right. Monitoring is a bad product. What is it? It's essentially humans performing a task that could easily be automated for the sake of supporting a service-based pricing model. Someone feel free to disagree. Cool. These people who call you are the least qualified people possibly alive to make decisions about your current situation and circumstances. They know nothing about you. They know nothing about your house, right? And they're calling, is everything okay? Who knows? And the crap's expensive, right? Worst case scenario. Like you guys, I'm sure some of you have services like this. How many calls do you typically get a month or how many incidents do you have? Is it like 5 to 10? Is that 0 a month? 1 or 2? So that's $40, $50, $60 for one person to make 2-minute phone calls. How much? Well, there you go. That's good. Not too bad. All right, so, well, they're subsidizing the cost of the hardware. They put it in for free for you. But the crap's not very expensive, so don't kid yourself. You're mean. Shut up. Old school hardware, let's talk about that some. I think the biggest issue with the hardware they currently put in, besides it being completely lowest bidder, is that it doesn't take advantage of the readily available equipment that's already in your house. And we're going to get into that more later. But it's not portable whatsoever, right? You put it in, you install it, that's it. It's there, it belongs to that house. And that's kind of the way it is now. Which is, you know, that might be okay, but it could be better. It's not potable, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I will say this, standing the test of time is a good thing. I mean, this hardware has essentially stayed the same for the past decade, right? I mean, the basic, you know, the nuts and bolts of it. But I think that sometimes simplicity comes at the expense of missing opportunities to increase security. Also, it doesn't easily accommodate changes to your environment, right? So, you know, if you, and this isn't necessarily like physical changes to your house, if you add a wing or if something changes, but like, think about the people living in your house as well. That could very seriously affect, you know, how you set your alarm, how you manage it. So, you may agree, you may not, but I think we're in a rut in terms of what's available to the average consumer when they're purchasing a residential alarm system. But why is that? Like I said before, the priority here is getting as many customers on the hook for monitoring contracts as possible. So again, it's an awful value. And because the ultimate goal of the system is to make that value worthwhile, that call center seem like a good option or like it's worth the money. The ultimate goal of the system is to enable them to give you a call, right? Which I think is I don't know, I think it's a little misplaced. So best case scenario, monitoring service. The police are dispatched immediately after your alarm goes off. They show up 15 minutes after the burglar leaves, and you pay $9 a month or 30 or 40. I've never heard of anyone paying less than 20, so good on you. So I do think there's room for improvement, but first let me talk to some about why I think we should make these improvements or certainly have the capability to. I do think that we are, by virtue of the fact of what a lot of us do, I'm sure there's a lot of consultants in here, a lot of people who have to make objective decisions and do a lot of problem solving. I do think that we also embody the ideal collection of skills required For instance, we've got people who deal with electronics, and we have a hardware hacking village. There's a fire-breathing pony over there or something. It's terrifying. That would scare away anyone, right? We've got software development, of course. We have physical security. You guys have seen the lockpick village over there. People who deal with policy nonsense. Reverse engineering guys. The list goes on and on. Also, I do think we would have the right motivation to get this done. We would have a genuine interest in increasing security. And I think that we can afford to be more objective because we don't have to satisfy a bottom line. So now on to the fun stuff. Okay. How can it be improved? This is just a collection of some of these are crazy ideas, some not, that I've had over the past year. So first thing is flexible hardware. I think that we should have the ability to integrate existing household components, such as laptops, desktops, network cameras, as a functional extension of the system. How many of you right now have at your house sitting some laptop or PC just sitting? A lot of people. Okay. So a lot of those probably have cameras on them, webcams, I assume, microphones, accelerometers. Yeah. So what if we could use webcams to collect video in the event of an alarm, right? Alarm goes off. Start recording. Send that footage off to something that's not about to get stolen, right? It's sitting there. Why not take advantage of it? So also, webcams can be used to detect motion as well. Use a laptop's accelerometer to trigger an alarm when it's moved. Say someone did, snake through the house, get past your window sensors and what other sensors you have. The laptop will know when it's being picked up, right? I think that should be able to be integrated. The computer speakers can blast like all manner of 80s awful music. Sorry if you guys like the 80s. But what if you can interface with existing or popular protocols like Android at Home or Zigbee or Z-Wave? Tie in with your home automation. I mean, wouldn't it be beneficial to be able to control the lights in the event that your alarm goes off? Turn all the lights on, right? Excellent. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. So wait. Nice. Cool. Oh, okay. Excellent. Cool. Eye control. I think I've heard of that. So what if you could write plugins or additional drivers for your system? So if you wanted to integrate like a humidity sensor or kilowatt type device or say a flood detector, you didn't want to buy someone's proprietary stuff. You just want to kind of integrate it because you're savvy. I think it'd be cool if you could do that. All right, so this isn't so much a demo as much as what I would like for someone to see when they enter my house and go for my laptop. And this is just something I cobbled together, and it uses the webcam, obviously, and the accelerometer. So. So you get home and find like a trail of urine leading away from your stuff. All right, here's another one. Yeah. Hey. Ah! Hey, you. What are you doing in my home? Anyways. Right. So let's talk about user habits. And I'm sweating. So we learned from that study they did in Connecticut that 41% of people who had alarms that were burglarized had them off, right? I mean, who else sees that as a really, really large issue? Right? And what are people doing to address it? I can't think of a darn thing. So What if we were to introduce gamification to alarm state management? Is anyone unfamiliar with that term? Anybody? Okay. Okay. Gamification, right? So you're brushing your teeth. What if you could earn points if you brush your teeth for a full minute? Arbitrary things, like Xbox achievements and stuff like that. So achievements for good performance, right? So what if you maintain this like a running security grade based on your habits, based on good behavior, good alarm state management? All right. So what if things kind of got real and you were able to get real rewards or discounts based on good alarm state management? Like, I don't know, discounts on monitoring services or discounts on sensors and things like that. So what if you got achievements, right? Yay! So you set your alarm for 30 consecutive days. Achievement unlocked, right? Any motivation is better than none. So what if you disarm your code or enter your disarm code 200 times without error? Like you might be really slow or a Rain Man or something, or a robot. Create 3 custom alarm states, and we'll get more into that later. But interface 5 computers with the alarm. So, all right, here's another huge thing. What if we were able to decentralize monitoring? What do I mean by that? I don't need you. Okay, take advantage of how interconnected everyone already is, right? So what if I could assign an infinite number of people that I know to become my own monitors? So, I mean, I would hope that I would have some people in my life, right, friends, neighbors, that I can loop in that would know kind of my general status, be current with me, know something about my house, right? And you can implement simple roles and permissions. So basically, these people would, be able to log in to your alarm and be able to choose like what kind of notification type they want to get, right? They want to get a text or a call or an email in the event that your alarm goes off. Or Twitter, or smoke signal. And if no one responds, we could call the police, right? It's not that hard. It would be automated. I mean, you guys saw HD's talk, right? How tough would it be to make a phone call? That's kind of, not at all. Okay. At the very, very least, being able to choose which monitoring service you were using would be a huge benefit. So, talk about notifications. Now, you got burglars. When an alarm is triggered, you ideally get a text or an email with a summary of all the sensory activity with respect to time, right? So my alarm goes off, I get a text, 12:01, my back door was kicked in, right? 12:01, 20 seconds later, my kitchen motion detector went off. 30 seconds after that, I see that my hallway motion detector has been triggered. So I see that. What if I had a link, right? Click the link. It opens a incident-specific web page, that will be served up by the alarm system, right? So I hit that. It's updated in real time. I can see what's happening, which sensors are being tripped. It has a scrubbable list of changes in states, so I could see kind of where things are happening in the house over time. And what if it made available all video and audio that was useful, like if it detected motion or something. And I could see that from wherever I was on my device. And all the people that are monitoring my service or my house could do the same as well. And you'd have quick links to common activities like dial the police or turn off the alarm or release the Kraken. So I would love to have live real-time communication between all the people who are monitoring my alarm, right? It'd be another page in the system there. So you could chat and come to a consensus. So it might look something like that, right? You'd have your timeline at the top, current videos. So what if responding authorities can do the same thing? What if they could tap into that information? I mean, yeah? Cool. I'm saying, what if the cops can know that as well? Okay. Awesome. So it'd be like a text message or something? How do the cops get it? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. So All right, so check feedback from other people who are monitoring. What if they could access the camera feeds themselves as well as the sensor information? What if homeowners can like set a status for their system? Like, hey, we're going to be out of town from this day to this date. Zach will be by in the evenings to feed the squirrels. Here's Zach's cell. Zach has brown hair and often dresses like a wizard. Social information. What if your alarm system could leverage statistics like local and regional crime statistics and maybe adjust sensitivity based on that? Perhaps. Well, I mean, I guess anything's possible. Yeah. Come find me. So what if you had the option to share data with other systems in your area? So like, this might be useful for identifying trends, right? So, hey, 4 houses within the 6 blocks radius have just had their back doors kicked in. Past 3 hours. So hide your kids. And hide your wife. So eventually you get minority report style precognitive prevention. I'm just kidding. Oh, and Google called and they need more data. How about custom alarm states, right? So we've got like, give me away, instant, or stay, or give me death. So what if we did have a high level of customization in alarm states? And what do I mean by that? What if we can control how each sensor in the system would affect the overall alarm state? So like, we've got doors that instantly set it off. And we've got doors that maybe are interior doors that just make it chime. Or what if we had a completely separate structure on the premises, like a barn or something, that we can say, all right, well, make all those sensors, aware, but we're having a party here, so leave us alone. All right, so and you'll be able to set the response type according to the sensor. So what about more installation options, right? So of course, like, you want to be able to use the existing sensors in your house because chances are if you bought a house, like, it's probably got something in it already, right? Anybody run into that? Like, I bought a house and like I've got a whole alarm system installed. And, like, for the longest time, it's just like bricked on the wall. And battery's fine. Anyways. But all the sensors are there, and it'd be good to be able to utilize those. What about an array of wireless sensors that could be built into common things around the house? Like, those face plates that have the motion detectors on them? Right? Nod your head. So what if that could be tied into your alarm system, right? I mean, those are pretty much at the entrance of every room in your house. It seems like that'd be a fairly affordable thing, and it wouldn't be like an addition of a new piece of hardware. It's kind of swapping things out. So, and like motion detectors that would just kind of screw into existing light bulb sockets that you could put a light right over top of it. Yeah, it seems like I saw that someplace. So, like I said, it would ideally work in line with current functionality. Yeah, I like that. So what if you had honeypot mode, right? So I know that all the stuff in my house is secure. I've got a safe or something. No one's going to get anything. So like, make everything like secure, but don't set the alarm off. And just wait. Yeah. Yeah. Come on in. So I'm going to keep going. Just wanted to see if anyone had any ideas came to mind. What's that? By the way, those little signs, they let pen testers know who to call and to impersonate you. So, right there. You're making the very good point that adding more complexity to a system would open it up to additional threats. Right. Yes. Right. Well, I mean, it's a thought. It's a good point. And I mean, and to that, I mean, at some point I have to say, like, well, I mean, can it be done at all? Well, sure, you know, and like, you can make an attempt. Right. Cool. Okay, so how would we do this? All right, so red. What, Rebecca Black wasn't good enough for you? But I like that. I like it. Yeah, but the thing is, who's being clever about this, right? Nobody. Yeah, you know, and that's a good point. I think we could extend that. Hmm. Right, yeah. Yeah. Right. I think I missed the first part of that, sorry. I mean, it's mostly, right. I mean, if a rat chews through my cable, I'm not paying for that. Oh, yeah. It used to be about $50 a visit, I think. Around there. Huh. thought about getting one of those like actuators as well that just like really vibrates, for the theater, attaching those to your floor. Sir. Hey, you go to court and you fight that. You fight that. Go do it. Are we in Kentucky? Nice. Yeah. I just want to release the bees like Oprah. One more time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice. All right, moving on. So I'm proposing Moxercat, right? So what is Moxercat? Computer. Okay. I'm 12, and what is this? Moxercat's, it's a dream. It's mythical alarm system nirvana. It's just kind of an ideal. It would use all open source hardware and software. It only use established open source protocols for communication, so no proprietary nonsense. Like I said before, it'd have a robust plug-in software architecture, so you could hook up pretty much any piece of hardware you wanted to for it, as long as someone came along with a driver. You'd have scalable hardware I/O, so adding more sensors and stuff wouldn't be an issue. Stupid simple OS and firmware updates. What's that? Yeah, exactly. You could configure it over the LAN. It'd be compact. So why open source? Insert your obligatory open source discussion here. Ultimately, many hands make light work. The growth of the system would actually be based on real needs at that point, instead of like nonsense that would sell well, because this should be an exercise in security rather than an exercise in marketing and sales. It also opened up a new marketplace for products and services. So why open source? Because of essentially kind of the trial by fire. 10, will it get owned? 20, yes, and it'll get fixed. 30, go to 10. So what's next? Pretty much start this conversation. So come find me and talk about it. Gather awesome people, map up some core functionality, start raising funds to put something together, and eventually release an SDK so people can get started creating plugins and beefing stuff up. So that's it. Hey, were there any more questions? Okay. Boxers. Are you talking about the authorities? Honestly, what I think would be the best thing is to have some sort of system in place that they would agree on. It wouldn't be just like a phone call. Like, I think there are a lot quicker, a lot more effective mediums than the phone to dial the authorities, like a dashboard or something that they could just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Nothing specific, no. That's something you'd have to work out with the cops. Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Sure, but I would argue that if I got a text, right, and that said my smoke alarms were going off and I could see a picture of inside my house, That's why it's not just me. It's me and my neighbor and everybody else. You know, if it's my neighbor, he's got a text and like he gets up and walks outside. The house is on fire. Well, I mean, we can keep going and going. I mean, I've got another friend or a neighbor or a college roommate. You know, but I mean, it's a good point.